Welcome to the breaking news from Shout Factory and Scream Factory panel at Comic-Con 2018. I am Bill Hunt, editor of thedigitalbits.com, and thank you, veteran of Comic-Con, many of you here. And so we have a great panel here. We're going to introduce our panelists here, and we've got a lot of titles to announce, and I mean a lot, like close to 30, like tons of them. So we're going to get started here. With us today is Brian Ward, who is the Senior Director of Video Production and Digital Media for Shout Factory. And Jeff Nelson, who is the Senior Marketing Director for Shout Factory. It's obviously
really the guru behind Scream Factory.
Oh, you're too kind, but thank you.
It's
from one guru to another.
Right. These are the guys. That's the point. These are the guys, and they know everything that's going on. And it's been a great year. I mean, it's been an amazing year for Shout. I mean, how many of you guys have spent over $100 on Shout Factory titles? Right? Yeah. Probably a lot more. I mean, Hell Night, Nightwalker, the It's Alive set, Matinee, Curse the Cat People, In the Mouth of Madness, Dr. Detroit, Wild at Heart, Gravity Falls. Who's got the Gravity Falls box set? Yeah. It's pretty outstanding, isn't it? It's pretty great. So there's all kind. I mean, that's just so far. And obviously, the titles we're going to announce tonight don't include all the things that have been announced already online. So this is all in addition to that. What we're going to do is we're going to start with Shout Factory and Brian, and we're going to go through all the titles that are going to be announced. We'll do some Q&A, and then he's got to zip off to another panel. So then we'll go to Jeff, and we'll talk about Scream Factory. So why don't we get this show on the road? Brian, you want to? Do you want to do a quick, just a rundown of some of the titles that have already been announced on social media recently that are upcoming?
Oh, what?
Highlights, maybe?
God,
a lot.
What have we announced that man, what has recently been announced? Well, I know that we've announced City Slickers, and I'm currently working on that. And that has a beautiful restoration that we're in the middle of right now. That should look amazing. Well, I'm being very careful about the things that I'm currently working on, because really for me, the first 6 months of this year was Gravity Falls.
Yeah.
Was really putting that baby together. 7 discs on Blu-ray. It's the first time we've ever done a deal with Disney. And really we owe a lot of that to the show's creator, Alex Hirsch. Without him, I don't know that we would have been able to get a deal like this. And you know, I've got to give it up to our acquisitions guys. Jordan Fields was amazing in that as well. And my co-producer, Antonio Lopez, was a huge fan of that show and really brought every bit of his knowledge to the table. And as a result, that box set alone, the disc, the 7th disc, which is the bonus features, in addition to promos and shorts and things like that you can see on YouTube every day, we produced an audio commentary for every single episode of the 40 episodes. We were literally sitting in our conference room at times because studio time is really expensive and you're doing 40 22-minute episodes. Yeah. So a lot of that was done like in our conference room, in our office with our podcast setup.
Which is amazing that you can do that now.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's like that is the way, that's the only way you can do a show like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I was saying earlier that it reminded me a lot of the Freaks and Geeks box set, the amount of love and attention that went into that,
thank you.
set. So
yeah, I mean, everything down from the packaging, the menus, all of it sort of still feels like it's all part of the same cohesive title, and it's not just a generic, you pop it in and it's cover.
It's a whole experience, and yeah, it's very cool.
But commentaries on every episode. We did a documentary that's like an hour and 48 minutes.
Tons of Easter egg material. Tons of Easter egg material.
If you know the show at all, you know that the show is all about Easter egg material. So we stayed true to that, which isn't something you get a chance to do with Blu-rays very much anymore.
Not anymore, yeah, it's true. Speaking of all these Blu-rays, though, we've got a lot of titles to announce, so why don't we get started? Why don't you go ahead and start working your way through this list of announced titles?
Yeah, so the first, we've been doing a lot of the Digimon Adventure Tri movies. We've released 5 up to this point. You can even get 4 and 5 down at our booth right now. And coming up, we're going to put together the final 6-film collection all together. That'll be later in the year. These movies have been fantastic. If anyone was a Digimon, was anyone ever a Digimon fan growing up? Yeah, it's all of the same characters that you grew up with, but grown up a little bit. So the adventures are a little, I don't want to say adult, but the stakes are a little higher. And by doing that, by catering to that audience who is a little older themselves, the stories themselves have gotten a little deeper, more mature. They've done some things in here that have been, I think, game changers, and nice twists and turns. And so we will be releasing all 6 films together in a collection, and that will be both Blu-ray and DVD. After that, we've got the 3rd in our Howard Lovecraft animated film trilogy. This is Howard Lovecraft and the Kingdom of Madness. We've, up to this point, done Howard Lovecraft and the Frozen Kingdom, and Howard Lovecraft and the Undersea Kingdom. These are based on comic books from Arcana, and they've done a really swell job of putting together a story of young Howard Lovecraft, and you may or may not get a glimpse at the adventures that led to his writings as HP, later as an adult. And this is the 3rd in the trilogy, so all of the magic that we've been seeing in the first 2 movies comes to a head, and the battle is complete here. But this one, once again, we are bringing Mark Hamill back, who was a co-star in the 2nd movie, Christopher Plummer, who has been in all 3 films, and then Finn Wolfhard is joining the cast for this one from Stranger Things. So that'll be an awesome one. Keep an eye out for that. Then we're going to some of our catalog titles, MGM releases, which is our bread and butter catalog. And we will start with the Legally Blonde collection. That cover art is a sketch mock-up, but it's pretty, we'll eventually get there. But yeah, we're going to do the 2 Legally Blonde films on Blu-ray as part of Shout Select. Those are going to be awesome for us. We don't just do catalog titles. We do some stuff that is, pretty recent, contemporary. Stuff like Pop Star, Never Stop, Never Stopping. Hilarious movie. Andy Samberg, Lonely Island. Judd Apatow, and so we'll see what we can put together with that one. We've also got Clint Eastwood's Hang 'em High coming out. I'm actually a really big fan of this movie.
A United Artists title, right? Yeah.
I am very much looking forward to seeing what we can put together for this one. If you like your British romantic comedies, 4 Weddings and a Funeral, romantic comedy / tragedy, and more comedy, and more comedy, and more comedy. Then we've got another one that I'm actually really excited about, Used Cars. I thought that one might get some attention.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's going to be a great title for us. That'll be coming out. Another exciting one, Backbeat. If anyone is familiar with this film, it basically, Ian Softly, the director of Hackers, made this movie beforehand, and it sort of looks at music in the 60s, and the way that he sort of describes it is that it's looking back on a culture the way that they were trying to do with Hackers looking forward. It's what this culture became and what it could be. And it's actually a really great movie. Coming up next, Dances with Wolves.
Steelbook.
In Steelbook. But we are currently putting together plans for this one. This one's been released before. There are a couple of ways that we could make it a little more complete. A theatrical cut would be nice. So we're going to try to see if we can make sure all the cuts are together.
Which would be the first time, I think, right?
First time.
First time they'd all, yeah.
The extended cut has only been available. Coming up next, California, which we're going to have a lot of fun with. I already tell you. More romantic comedies. When Harry Met Sally. And then one of my favorites, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. And finally, up for me is one of my all-time favorites.
This is a good one.
The Jerk. For a 40th anniversary collection, we are in the middle of doing the transfer on that one, 4K restoration.
Has this film ever really been given a serious special edition or any kind of a
No.
Because I remember when Universal put it out on Blu-ray, it was just like movie only, DVD. It was there was not much.
Not at all, and my fingers are crossed right now that we can make something happen. I mean, in addition, of course, to these two gentlemen sitting together, which we've already shot. Nice. So this one's going to be that's actually in Carl's house. So we all got together at Carl's and had a great day.
As one does, right?
You know. Got a good relation with Carl. Again, I owe that to Jordan Fields. But that was a fantastic day of the two of them thinking back. I mean, they've made 4 movies together, so the friendship runs deep. And
a lot of history.
Yeah, and The Jerk was the first that they did, so there was a lot to talk about. So yeah, those are mine.
That's pretty good. Do you let's do a little Q&A. Do you guys have any questions or any thoughts or any input? Anything you guys want to talk about related to Shout Factory titles? These titles also?
On the used cars release, are you doing any commentary or awesome?
We are still in the pre-production phase of the bonus features for that one, but we definitely want to soup up the box.
Feel free, we have a microphone too. Feel free to step up if you guys have anybody.
Hi. I was just wondering if you could talk about some of the restoration work, if any, and special features for When Harry Met Sally.
We are taking the film out of the vault now. In fact, I think that film was just released to us. So we're going to take a look at it, see what the transfer currently looks like. We don't always have to do new transfers if the release or if the print that they give us or the master they give us is good. We usually spend a couple of weeks analyzing it, checking out to see how much dirt, how many scratches, do we think the color holds up? If it doesn't, we also look at the year, the last year that it was, that a proper restoration was done to it. If it was several years ago, we're probably going to just go ahead and bite the bullet and happily rescan that because the technology has changed so fast that a transfer that was done, what Jeff, like, I mean, you've transferred stuff,
even just a couple years ago.
Yeah, where it's the technology has gotten to that point that you can retransfer something that was just done 5 years ago and it's going to look 10 times better.
That was true of the early days of Blu-ray too. A lot of titles that came out originally on Blu-ray in those early days were redone later, and you can just see the difference. The technology moves so quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that, when a title's been on a Blu-ray before, we are always conscious of that. So we know that you guys, we do too, will say, hey, can the picture be improved here? And if we can, we will. But sometimes, like you said, like The Jerk was bare bones. If the picture that was on the prior Blu-ray had already received good marks, but now you're at least loading it up with a lot of extras, a lot of content, we feel like that's where we've done that on some of the Screen Factory stuff. A lot of times we'll do new transfers, but like People Under the Stairs is a great example of where we use the same transfer, but we put like a ton of extras on it.
Yeah.
So
And if you
to
guys
balance it out.
some of these titles, if you guys didn't do that, would never get that kind of attention.
No.
Well, and there are titles in the same way that, Jeff, you were just talking about a title that looks great, but you put in a bunch of bonus content to even it all out. But there are some titles where there have been amazing bonus features and compilations already put together. Dances with Wolves is one of them. Like, they've got a great documentary on that and a lot of good bonus material. So how do you make that one better? You go back to the picture and sound, and that's really why we're buying these discs to begin with. So you have to go back and look at those and see what you can do to make those worth your your money.
And sometimes if you can get access to the talent and they're willing, you can do a retrospective now because the filmmakers might have a perspective now on the film that they, an appreciation of it that's different than they would in the heat of the moment, even at the time. So, go ahead.
Oh, well, since you have Carl Reiner and Steve Martin in the same room, and they have about 3 other movies where they work together, are there any consideration or plans for the other 3 movies?
Not at present. I would like to make something like that happen. One of my all-time favorites is Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid. Unfortunately, that one was just recently released, last year? That one was a pretty bare bones release. But I would love, I think if of any of their movies, that one deserves them to sit down and actually tell you how they made it. If anyone knows the film, it's brilliant. So I would love, but All of Me would be fantastic. Them 2 Brains, obviously.
And my second question, you guys announced Dragnet a few weeks ago. Will the video be on the disc?
Maybe? That one, yeah. City of Crime, the music video directed by Paula Abdul. We're trying to get it. We know that it's something that everyone wants. It's on the list. If it does make it, yay. If it doesn't make it, know that we're trying. The problem with it is that it's not just a very easy thing that you can just acquire. The movie was, from one studio, but unfortunately the music is from Universal Music, and it's an entirely different entity. So clearing that can be difficult.
Much more complicated. Plus the artist too. I'm sure Paula Abdul would make, all that kind of thing.
Yeah. So we're trying.
Anybody more questions? Feel free to step up. Come on up. You get in line if you want. Feel free.
Hi. I spent over $100 already on my Comic-Con trip.
Thank you.
You're absolutely welcome. Thank you. By anything, I got this. You're talking, I'm not sure, and I apologize, I don't know the exact, schematics or procedurals when coming to picking films, but are there any films that you think that are bare bones or not, or maybe underappreciated that you would like to see on this collection? For me, like stuff like Joe versus Volcano is very bare bones. I know High Fidelity is very bare bones. Even Stay Tuned by Peter Hyams. It's not a great film, but that's kind of bare bones. Anything films like that you would love to see maybe in your fantasies to kind of do a restoration and some special features? I've said before, and I don't know that it's not a bare bones title, in fairness. But one of my dream titles to this day is still Time Bandits. And I know that there are a number of people that couldn't step up to talk about it. Unfortunately, a number of them aren't with us anymore. But it's just one of those titles that I think someone somewhere could be convinced to talk about it, and you could really put together a great documentary for that movie. Unfortunately, every release that's ever come out has been a little disappointing to me for that. The commentary was great, but I just want something else. Yeah.
But there are lots of titles. I mean, each of you I know, has titles that you would love to get your hands on.
Well, one of the things that I think it's important to kind of interject is every title that we get, the older films, they're all like their own personalities. When we start to go into the production of these, sometimes we will find that the actors and directors and crew, they love the film, they love the experience, they love everything about it, and so they're willing to come to the table. And then sometimes we get films that you think, oh my God, well of course we'll get the lead, what is she doing now? Or, this is a beloved film, and we'll get crickets, and sometimes we're told why, and sometimes we're not. It often surprises us, but it's one of the roller coaster aspects of getting these older titles is seeing, you know, what can come available. I mean, to reinforce Brian's point, we really do try, and we do make the asks, you know.
And then it's a matter too, I think, sometimes of what's in the vault, like what materials were, you know, production materials, what of that was saved, like what marketing materials were saved, where are they, what condition are they in, like that's you know, when you, especially when you're working on a title with a limited budget, that's a real challenge, tracking down assets and elements and sorting through it all.
And then again, clearances for you know, talent or music wasn't necessarily, like it could be some EPK fluff piece that aired on Fox or something, and you think, oh, that's a no-brainer, but they didn't think about the fact that had a song in it that now isn't cleared for us to use, so suddenly that gets taken.
Or deleted footage that we'll find, and then the studios will say, who's that actress in the deleted footage? Is she cleared? You know, we go into the stuff where we're like, we're not, and then we can't use it, you know. When you get into, you know, also dealing with studios, because remember, we don't own the films, we sublicense them, that can be a challenge. But a lot of times we can come through.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
I'll give you my list. Sleuth, 1972?
Sure.
Where is it? Richard Lester's Musketeers pictures?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Any Hammer horror thoughts? Because there's some missing movies out there we've never got on Blu-ray.
I may talk about that.
Great.
later.
And has anybody found the negative to Dog Soldiers yet? Because that would be terrific if we could go back and revisit that.
We may talk about that.
Come
Second.
You never know. We'd love to go back to Dog Soldiers. It's not, and there's also even other titles that we've put out where if better material came up, we would reissue it again. Hell Night is probably a great example. Last year we only had a print. We restored it, we did everything we could, but the elements were lost. But I'm telling you, if the negative or the inner positive came up from that, like tomorrow, yeah, it would come out again. So Dog Soldiers is one of those titles that we know had a controversy about the transfer and what we had to work with. Yeah, I'll leave it as that. Thank you. And so did a lot of other people, which is why we still look at Dog Soldiers as something that's still viable if any film elements should come up.
Question? Go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question on two titles. One, what can you share about, you know, experiences putting together Streets of Fire? And also the second title is, what can you say about Fright Night, which, you know, I know that title's kind of hard to get, or you have to pay a lot of money for it.
Unfortunately, Streets of Fire wasn't one of my projects. That was one of Cliff's.
Yeah, and I didn't work on that one. I'm so sorry. But Fright Night, unfortunately, that's not one of the titles I'm going to be announcing tonight. We have tried to get that. It's been out on Blu-ray a couple of times. We'd love to get it. I mean, we love the film, but it is not on our horizon right now, or not available to us. You're welcome.
Question? I think we got time for one or two more here, I think, and then...
Got three titles that are kind of like fantasy, wanting them done. The first one, I can't believe's never had any attention paid to it, Kong 76. It seems like that would be a nice one to have a real nice package put together.
Has that one never?
I think it was groundbreaking for licensing. That was
Blu-ray.
There was a Blu-ray, but
everything.
Real bare bones,
Yes.
I think.
That would be a great collector's edition.
Yeah.
Then two more, Megaforce. I'd love to see that because Barry Bostwick, he's been embracing that lately, so that would be great.
You could do a fun special edition for that one, too.
And Robin Williams' Popeye. That would be one.
That's
Yeah.
a fun one. That's a random one. Just you just went from like two other than Popeye. There we go. I love it.
It's a mix.
But it's one of those great overlooked titles that's never really been given the treatment it did.
Hey, I saw it when I was 9. You know.
Yeah,
Consider.
All right.
absolutely. Go ahead.
You talked a little bit about stuff on YouTube and like EPK stuff for supplements. I guess I would say don't let that stuff disappear because a lot of it does get taken down off of YouTube. And I think people will want to see that kind of stuff as supplements later on.
Absolutely. And in fact, it's one of the first places, if it's a title that I'm not already familiar with, I will go to YouTube to see, like in 1981, did these actors appear on this thing, or was there EPK or behind the scenes footage in a special? It's one of the first places I go to look, because then I can go to the studio and say, hey, there's this thing that you guys made. It must be cleared, or could you please check it out for us? And then
Because someone's obviously put it up there on VHS tape.
right,
So that
someone
we know
had it.
exists.
It existed somewhere. It was released, so it's definitely one of the first places we go. And sometimes if a studio doesn't have it, we might go to the person who put it up on YouTube and just get it from them. We'll ask them if we can have their source, and we've done that before. I did that with Power Rangers. A lot of the Power Rangers archival bonus features all came from fans who had collected them over the years.
Just to make a couple more title suggestions. Sorry.
Let's have them. Let's hear it.
First one would be Blue Collar.
Oh.
And on that theme, Paul Schrader's Affliction.
Oh, sure.
And The Border, starring Jack Nicholson.
I'm actually
add them to the list.
Right.
So we get, I think, time for a couple more questions, one or two more questions. If you have any more questions for Brian, and specifically about
I think I've got time for
Shout Factory, you
one
want to come
more.
up and
Then
use
I've
the.
got a bolt. Sorry.
But we got time for a couple more if you've got a couple questions. So.
I was wondering if you guys had any updates regarding Mac and Me, like the features. I might have missed that, but
No.
I love it.
We announced that last year.
Yeah, we did.
It's
coming out. It's next month. I mean,
was gonna say, it's
yeah,
been-
we've already seen the physical copy in the office. It's coming out next month. There's tons of extras on it. I mean,
yeah, like as far as like the extras, like what?
you know,
Oh, when will that be announced? Is there a?
have those not been announced yet?
I haven't seen anything.
Right.
Maybe, but if not soon.
Yes.
Would be my guess, because if it's
Yeah.
coming out in a month or so, yeah.
Yeah, it's coming out in August. We have literally the copies in the office,
Yeah.
so they should be coming up soon.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Outstanding. Thank you. Excellent. We got time for one more for Brian.
What are the chances of figuring out the rights quagmire for the movie Rad?
That's come up a couple times.
It's come up a lot.
Yeah.
It'd be right up our alley. For me, sorry.
Yeah.
But
Outstanding,
Thank you guys. Thank you guys for all coming.
Brian Ward, ladies and gentlemen.
I promise. He's the one you're waiting for anyway.
Take your water.
Stop.
Take your special water.
Thanks, Brian.
Right. All right. Now we're gonna talk with Jeff about the Scream Factory stuff. Now, hang on. Let me. So this is the highlights of things that have been announced already on social media. Return of the Living Dead 2, Straight Jacket, The Tingler, Brain Scan, The Seventh Sign, Scream for Help, The Evil, The Unborn, Brain Dead, The Bride, Exorcist II, Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation, Creep Show, Trick or Treat, Steelbooks for Halloween 2, Halloween 3, and Night of the Demons that has a NECA doll that comes with it.
NECA doll.
The House on Haunted Hill remake, and The Wasp Woman. That's all those titles. What we're going to talk about now is in addition to that.
If I sound loopy tonight, it is because literally we are just working on fumes. This has been one of the strongest years in the brand's 6-year history, and I have even more tonight to tell you. It's kind of crazy.
It's a lot.
But it's fun, you know. I tell people, you know, I've done, you know, the panels before every year. I grew up on this stuff. I was age 10 watching all these movies, and here I am putting this stuff out. It's a labor of love. It's a lot of labor, but I mean, it is to see it pay off, to see you guys here excited about the announcements and the teases and stuff is very gratifying to me on a personal level.
The thing of it is, too, you know, you're a fan of this stuff. You love this stuff as much as anyone. So this is exactly the kind of a person you want in charge of special features for a title like that. Because if you can think of like, oh, I would love to see that. Oh, I would love to see that. You can almost be sure that he's already thought of that because he's thinking in the same vein.
Well, and the other thing too is so as a fan, and I'm looking at social media, which is a very, everybody says everything on the internet. Lots of positive stuff, lots of support, and we really truly appreciate it. But as a fan, when we see why didn't you get this, why didn't you do this, I feel like, oh guys, I let you down. But we, as I mentioned earlier, we deal with studios and talent and transfers and elements and difficult producers and all sorts of things where, it's a miracle when every Blu-ray comes out and it's there and it's finalized, and I can just say, whew, on to the next. We've released.
It's trickier now than ever. That process is trickier now than ever.
It's getting a little tougher.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we've now released over 350 titles in the Scream brand since 2012.
Wow.
We started off announcing like 7 or 8, so that's crazy. I'm still mind blown of it. So, but people ask, well, where do you go from here? I mean, you've put out The Thing and Creepshow and the Halloween collection, and I got to tell you, we have a very robust slate for 2019. And it's surprising that there's still some stuff available. There's still some highly coveted titles from certain studios that we can't get access to.
But you keep trying.
My God, Cliff McMillan, which is my other kind of co-captain of the brand, and Jordan Fields, who also is in acquisitions. We don't give up. We keep knocking on the studio's doors. And even when we get into certain studios, some people think that we may have carte blanche, like just full access to the titles, and it doesn't work like that. We'll announce some titles and people are like, that's great, but what about this one since you're working with this studio? And it's like, yeah, but they kept this, or they're gonna put it out themselves, and hey, we're just grateful.
Or they think they might put it up themselves, but they don't. And that's why the persistence sometimes can pay off. Sometimes if they have enough of a relationship with you and you build that over time, you can eventually get to those titles. You wear them down. And
yes. There are some titles, though, like Jaws, the sequels. We get requests for that a lot. That's just a very sensitive property for the studio that owns it, as you can imagine. So, it makes sense.
It's a marquee.
We have a lot of stuff. I'm going to get to the announcements. I do have a couple of teases, early sneak peeks. We mentioned The Exorcist II. Is there any fan of The Exorcist II in here? Please, admit to it.
There you go.
Okay, all right.
It's the place to reveal your true colors.
It is a bonkers movie. I mean, and that's just saying it diplomatically, I guess. I don't know. I mean, it is one of those sequels that just, you scratch your head and you say, we just wanted to see Linda Blair possessed more and cursing more and throwing up more vomit, and then they gave us this weird movie from John Borman with locusts and craziness, and it's bizarre. We did get an interview with Linda Blair. We announced that at the time. She was, I interviewed her actually personally. She was quite a hoot, and she recollected a lot, but she had something funny to say about the character of Reagan tap dancing.
So John Borman comes to me and he said, I think Reagan should tap dance. What? I ain't doing no tap dance. Reagan don't tap dance. This is true. Reagan don't tap dance. No. Off John sent me to tap dancing lessons. I hated it. I hated it. And then I got to respect it. And then I got to respect it. And I realized what an amazing dance. What an amazing opportunity. I would never, ever have chosen it. And so he incorporated it. I really don't know why. I can actually see my head get back into the dance. as shit's hitting the fan and I fall off the stage or whatever. That was, John just put it in there. I don't know why. I don't know when Reagan took dancing lessons, but there you go.
When we can get the actors to relax and have fun with what they've done and just look back, it just makes it all much better. We have another clip to show you. We must have some fans here of Michael Dougherty's Trick or Treat. So to be able to get this title was also a huge win. I mean, it's a modern day Halloween classic. It's really fun and it's just a great anthology. And Michael Dougherty, the director who's doing the upcoming Godzilla, is very much involved in our release, and he approved the key art, and we are so grateful. I mean, this is somebody who's working on a major film and still has respect for Sam and Trick or Treat. So here's a short clip of him talking about Sam that hopefully you guys will like.
Christmas has Santa Claus, Easter had the Easter Bunny, St. Patrick's Day had leprechauns, and so on and so forth, but Halloween didn't have a very singular, iconic character. It was sort of a hodgepodge of vampires and witches and werewolves and Frankenstein, sort of a medley of monsters, but I really was hoping for just an iconic character that embodied everything that Halloween was about. At the same time, I loved Michael Myers as a character from the movie Halloween. But I felt like, as much as I loved him as a character, what was missing from that character was sort of the childish, impish quality of the holiday, the mischievous side of the holiday. So I sort of crafted this character which, while frightening, was also very childlike. The idea that this ancient spirit of Halloween would sort of disguise itself as a kid, as a trick-or-treater who would wander from house to house, sort of making sure that people were obeying the rules and traditions of the holiday, just became really appealing.
Very cool. Very cool that you're able to get it. That's great.
All right, so I'm not going to waste any more time because I have a lot of titles to announce. This will be the most titles that we've announced at Comic-Con, and they're pretty strong. So, you guys ready? All right, so we'll start on the comedic side. We've been asked a lot for the horror comedy from 1981, Saturday the 14th.
Richard Benjamin classic.
And Paul Apprentice. Goofy as all hell, but it will be coming to Blu-ray in the early part of 2018. We also get requests for Screamers with Peter Weller, which has not been on Blu-ray before, which is a little surprising. Sci-fi film from the mid-90s there. One of my personal favorites, Living with a Roommate Can Be Murder with Single White Female, which has never been on Blu-ray before, which is kind of shocking.
It is
and it is a crazy film, and I may have dressed up as one of the characters for Halloween one year in 1992, but that's another story. We go into Brian De Palma territory again with his film Obsession, 1976 film with John Lithgow, Geneviève Bujold, great film. We are going to retackle a film that's been put on Blu-ray before, the Charles Bronson sleazy film 10 to Midnight, which is, if anybody has seen this, it's a slasher film at the end of the day.
Was that was J. Lee Thompson doing
yes,
that film?
from
Wow. Guns
which is
Navarone
crazy. Well, he did Happy Birthday to Me the year before, so I think he just took some of that over and yes, it came out on Blu-ray before. We're going to do a new transfer. And we have a lot of new extras planned for it. It's also one of my personal favorites. We can never get enough of John Carpenter, of course, of people who know what we put out. So Starman is being prepped for a collector's edition. And we are looking for that hopefully in December of this year. Next, somebody said Hammer. We're going back to Dracula, Prince of Darkness, Christopher Lee, classic. We're going to do a new transfer. We're going to treat this as a collector's edition. I will just leave you with a tease. We definitely have more Hammer planned for 2019.
Outstanding.
Okay, we get into some really big cult ones right here. High School is tough enough, but when you add witchcraft to it, it gets even tougher. So The Craft is being prepped for early 2019. Big favorite. Mick Garris and Cats Go Crazy in Stephen King's Sleepwalkers, which will be getting the collector's edition in November. Actually, you'll be able to pre-order it very soon. In fact, like tonight. Yeah, I got it. The next one I'm going to open up with a little bit of a clip. You guys will know what it is when you see it. Yes, we bring Garbage Day to Christmas this year with Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2, Collector's Edition. Next one, modern day slasher favorite, Urban Legend, comes to us as a 2-disc Collector's Edition with the director super involved, and we have pretty much most of the cast locked in already with extras. That includes Tara Reid, Rebecca Gayheart. It's kind of shocking how well this is turning out to be. And of course, you can't release Urban Legend without releasing its sequel, Urban Legends Final Cut. We're not showing that one, are we? Oh, we did? All right, oops, all right. Okay. Last but not least, you guys have been asking for it, Critters, the collection. All 4 films will be going in one complete collection. This will be coming out in November. You can pre-order it on our site after this. And there you go. There you go. There's a, oh, whoa, wait. There's one last one. I'm going to be a little hammy here, but I need a little prop for it. Candyman, 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 Candyman. I'm not saying it 5 times. Candyman Collector's Edition will be coming to us from in the US and Canada. It was announced by another company last week for the UK. We are huge fans of this. We know you guys are too, and we know that a lot of people have been asking for this. So, whew, there you go, guys.
That's a pretty solid slate right there. That's pretty good. You were right. That's a pretty good slate.
It's a good mix.
That is a big year. That is a very big year. So we've got time for about 10 more minutes or so, I think. Time for some more questions about Scream Factory and about more of the work these guys do.
Yeah, well, you guys can ask as many questions as you like.
Come on,
I'm prepared.
Ask away.
Please tell me you got Joel Robinson to do the Silent Night, Deadly Night artwork.
Joel Robinson is doing Silent Night, Deadly Night. You couldn't do the art from last year and not have the same artist of this year. And he's already completed and it's done and it's fabulously campy. Oh, look at this line.
I'm not going to ask about a title.
Well, you can. It's fine.
No, everything's fine. But for some reason, Shout and Scream Factory discs don't play on my Sony player.
That sounds like a firmware update.
It is, but the last time the firmware was updated was 2012. I realize this is more Sony than Scream Factory. But is there something different that you do with your discs? It's not the discs, because I do have a backup player that I don't trust. But there's something about Scream Factory discs they do not play in a. It's a pretty hot.
Have you? I mean, I'm so sorry to have to deflect it on that, and it's also a little more technical than I can answer. Have you brought that to our customer service a few times?
I have. The first time it happened, it locked up the player.
What about Sony? Have you gone to them at all?
No, I should go to Sony.
Sony, yeah, because
I'm guessing
they may actually have a firmware update that you don't know about, because I guarantee if you're having that problem, other people may have as well, and they may have fixed it already.
I have to tell you that, we don't take those things lightly, but we also haven't heard that widespread. So I don't.
Bringing it to you, maybe.
Yeah.
Me talking to Sony versus a large company talking to Sony, maybe they would put out a new firmware update.
That's a problem that ought to be attacked on both ends, and
sure.
You can bet they'll, look into it. And I would contact.
Sorry, you're having that problem.
Yeah.
I still watch the discs. I just,
Thank you, but sorry you're having that problem
Thank
for
you.
sure.
Step right on up.
All right. Love your shirt.
Oh, thank you. I have a title suggestion, or any of the three. I'd love the Stepfather trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts on any of those?
Well, we've released The Stepfather before on Blu-ray.
Oh, on Blu-ray?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It wasn't part of the Scream Factory brand. It was pre-Scream Factory, but yes, it's currently on Blu-ray. 2 and 3, we have looked into. There are film element issues. We're not able to look at those yet. But the first one, hey, you can buy it today, right after this panel.
And who knows?
It's pretty hard to get.
Which one?
The third,
yeah.
Terry O'Quinn and stuff. It's a pretty weird one.
Yeah, and again, it's just the film element issues. That one I know I can speak to at least clearly on that.
Could be something though that maybe in the future, if elements surface,
You never know.
Question for Jeff.
Yes.
How does it feel knowing you managed to get Piranha 2 on Blu-ray before True Lies?
Yes, that came up quite a bit when we announced Piranha 2, and then we had to move it and everything. James Cameron isn't on our extras for Piranha 2, and we didn't, we knew not to even go there. But yes, those films are with studios. I'm sure they get requests. I'm sure
they do.
Jim has something to say with it.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Those have been his priority for about 5 years now, and there were special editions that were finished for both of those and unreleased, so it's a whole complicated thing. But yeah, I think eventually they'll show up.
Yeah, but we got Piranha 2 out.
Right, exactly. That's the one that matters.
Right.
And I love the Amanda Reyes commentary you just did. And as a side note, there are 2 Steven Spielberg movies made for TV that have never been released. Something Evil and Savage. Any chance of ever getting those?
You know what? I'm not sure what studio those are with, but duly noted.
Hi, just wanted to ask about possible studio partnerships for Scream Factory. Specifically thinking of like Weinstein Company and Dimension sitting on a huge number of films from the aughts and not really giving good Blu-ray treatments to any of them. But I think with their company, all of their libraries are also being sold off now to other people. Will that open doors possibly?
Possibly. I mean, we're really aware. We really do look at all of the studios that have titles that are in their vaults that we want to look at, and then we have conversations, we knock on doors, we know that one in particular has been, kind of a little messy with all the things that have been going on, but we've had that one on our radar for a while.
Yeah, because you got Wolf Creek.
Yep. Black Christmas remake, all the stuff, yeah.
But the fact that there is transition happening at
Right.
Weinstein, you never know. That could open a door.
Yep.
You never know.
You never know. I say never. There's probably a few films that I can say, yeah, we're not going to get it, but never say never on that.
Step on up. We've got about 5 more minutes for questions, so everybody who's got a question, come on up.
How in the world does The Hunter from the Future get a Blu-ray release, but not the Beastmaster?
You ask this every year. No, I love it. You know what? We'd love the Beastmaster. I'm not sure if Don Coscarelli owns that outright. I mean, we've put out Bubba Hotep and Phantasm 2 and stuff, or if it's with another studio.
There is a Blu-ray release in Australia.
Yes, I actually have it.
Yeah.
It's all region, which is, but there's more to be done with it.
Oh, yeah.
I know we've looked into it, and just nothing has been able to happen. I'm sorry. Maybe next year. You never know.
Could be a rights issue or complicated. Come on up.
Critters, amazing. I'm so excited. The first 2 were amazing. Also, just for back catalog or ideas, you said Peter Weller Screamers. Peter Weller in Leviathan. I think I love that film as well. Maybe
we did put that out.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Okay. We've put out so many movies that people are like, "Hey, is this on Blu-ray?" I'm like, "Yeah, we already did it."
And thank you.
Yeah.
Because I have the DVD and it's just so bare bones and it's like this little guy in a suit and it's like what? Okay. But anyways, DVD and Blu-ray collection is, I feel like, such a niche thing these days. Just like print, it's kind of in a dead zone. What do you see maybe as a possible future for Scream and Shout, with maybe doing something with the lines of like streaming? Because I know streaming, you can only do so much. And for me, the big factor of getting these Blu-rays and these collections, not only just to own them for my own personal large collection to brag about it, but it is these special features and the care that goes with these products as well.
That's an interesting question.
Yeah, like weird. Like, I mean, there's sort of a financial model where the rights for streaming and digital are different and more expensive than what we're doing for physical. Most of the times, the studios that we're going to are already exploiting the streaming and digital for the films that we're going after. Plus, the thing too is that what Scream Factory and isn't totally known for, but largely known for, is the physical media that we're keeping still alive. And yes, it is more of a collector's market, and in the there's sort of a unit ceiling there, but it's still, I say this every year, people want a tangible item to hold, to show. They do not want to have a file out there or rely on Netflix to just keep their favorite film. They want to be able, if they're like, I'm in the mood to watch Halloween 3, I want to pull it out of my shelf and I want to put it in my player and I want to watch it there. I don't want to be, reliant on that stuff. Plus the extras and stuff, and and also too, look, the picture quality is going to look much better on your Blu-ray player than it's going to look streaming. It's just, that's how it is. So,
and then also too, extras aren't generally going to live online. I mean, the studios are doing some extras online, but a lot of the good special features, there's no real place for them in the streaming world yet. I mean, that's just kind of an experiment that they're starting with. But I mean, I think physical media is going to be around for a while.
We hope.
I mean, I think what's going to happen is streaming is going to sort of take over the mass market, and as you say, physical media will tend to be more the collector special thing. But we can't forget that there are like 130 million TV households in the U.S., and almost all of them have a Blu-ray player or a DVD player. I mean, there are still a lot of machines to feed out there. So as long as there's money in it, somebody will want to do it.
It's true.
We have time for
still around.
One or two quick more questions.
Are you going to be at Son of Monsterpalooza? Because when I was at Monsterpalooza, I saw your advertisement in the program guide, and I was looking for you.
Oh man, oops. Yeah. Yes, we will be at Son of Monsterpalooza. We could not do Monsterpalooza this year, quite frankly. Our lineup in April wasn't all that great, and we didn't feel like it was going to be best foot forward. We love going to any conventions. We're exploring more for next year outside of Los Angeles, outside of California, because we do want to meet more people on a grassroots level.
We have time for just a couple more. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I've been becoming a big fan of Angela Carter's books of late, and I know that there was a movie adaptation with Neil Jordan called The Company of Wolves.
Mm-hmm.
I've only been able to find one copy in all of Southern California at the Newport Beach Library. Any ideas? Have you?
Oh, we love Company of the Wolves, and we do have ideas of it, and we are looking into it, and I'll just leave it at that.
Okay, that gives me hope. Okay.
Yes, definitely you can have hope. That is not one of those never say never like titles, or that is one of those titles that I can say that we're still looking at. That's the loopy in me, so yes.
How about Shivers? It's a 1976 film that really creeped me out. Shivers.
Oh, Shivers, Cronenberg, that's a great film. And that is with a studio that unfortunately we can't sublicense at this time. It's classic. We put out Rabid 2 years ago, just one of the best Cronenberg films, and Shivers was right before it, but nothing yet. Sorry.
All right, with that, we've got to wrap up. Shout has got a booth down in the hall that you can visit, and they've got an Alex Hirsch signing coming up. You can find them on social media at Shout Factory and at Scream-Factory. Is that correct on Twitter?
On Twitter, yes.
On Twitter, yeah.
We have an Instagram page, Shout Factory.
And also Facebook, obviously. I am Bill Hunt. You can find me at Bill Hunt Bits on Twitter. And thanks to Jeff Nelson.
Thank you guys.
Thanks to
Seriously.
Brian, and thanks to everyone from Shout Factory. Thank you guys, all of you.